Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahaladahladadaine. Prahaladahladadaine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Silatankanakalaye. Silatankanakalaye. Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha. Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha. Yeto yeto yami tato Narasimha. Yeto yeto yami tato Narasimha. Bahir Narasimha Hrudaye Narasimha. Bahir Narasimha Hrudaye Narasimha. Narasimha Madim Saranam Prapadye. Narasimha Madim Saranam Prapadye. Avakara Kamalavare Nakha Adbhuta Shingha Dalita Hiranyakashapu Tanubhranga Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Prahalad Maharaj Jaya Prahalad Maharaj Jaya Prahalad Maharaj, Jaya Prahalad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, 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 Jaya, Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura, Haribol. भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक श्री श्री लक्ष्मण नरसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। गौर प्रणाम। हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण मंजुला माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण शंकर प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण दंडस प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण भुवनेश्वरी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। माता हरे कृष्ण माधवी माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
माता जी। So thank you very much for joining our Monday session. If you remember, we are discussing the questions raised by our devotees. In last two sessions, we discussed the two questions. One question raised by Swara Mataji about Mataji is asking about how could that piety is also not good for us. Okay, how can we bound to this world even with piety? Okay, there is a difference between piety and devotion. Okay, that one we discussed. And then 2 questions asked by Harish Prabhu. In our last session, we discussed about that 7 births. Okay. In order to become, or if one does not attain 100% spiritual consciousness, will he or she get more than 7 janmas? Okay. So that point also we discuss. And now the third question again. This question is also from Harish Prabhu. Today we'll discuss. Okay. Does detachment and unattachment apply to only materialistic aspects of life, or also when it comes to relationships? Let it be wife, children, parents. Because sometimes when we fall in love, it's a harder task to detach ourselves when they leave. Okay, this is the question. Okay, so on this attachment, so as part of this, we need to understand 2 points. One is like, which we already discussed, is detachment versus unattached. Detachment versus unattachment, that we already discussed, but we will just touch that point again. And another important point is like attachment versus affection. That is very, very important. Okay, understanding the difference between attachment and affection. So basically remember one point from Prabhuji's question. What exactly is the material aspect? So Prabhuji asked the question, does detachment and unattachment apply to only materialistic aspects of life, or also when it comes to relationships? This is the question. What exactly is the materialistic aspect of life and the spiritual aspect of life? We need to understand. So Harish Prabhu, what is your understanding on material aspect of life?
I would say it's basically money, assets, and like anything that is tangible, that we can own and we can like derive some pleasure out of.
Okay. Right. So basically you're saying whatever are the tangible things are material aspects of life, right?
Yes. Like to put it in a very simple manner, like I would probably say assets. Yes.
Assets. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay. So from scriptural point of view, we'll ask devotees. Anyone has any other definition about material aspect of life? Do you want to add one more point to? Yes, Manjula Mataji.
All material aspects, they come with the body. So once you define yourself as the body, then material assets are with the body. So is going to be your family, friends, relatives, work colleagues. So the extension goes around. I mean, there are ripples from this. This is what I could add. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. So anything related to bodily concept of life. Anything related to bodily concept of life. For example, I'll give you the example, Harish Prabhu. For example, person A bought a luxurious car, maybe Mercedes-Benz, something like that, because he is fond of cars. He is fond of luxury items. Yeah. So he bought a luxurious car, which is asset, like tangible asset, as you mentioned. Okay. And a person B, he also bought the same Mercedes-Benz. Only the difference is person A is a non-devotee and person B is a devotee. Okay. This person B, he is using this Mercedes-Benz in the service of his spiritual master, in the service of the temple. Understand? Both are same cars, like means same brand, yeah, same model, same price, whatever it is. Okay. One is using for his pleasure. The other one is using for the pleasure of the Lord. That is the difference. Understand? So it's not like just assets or tangible things. Okay. Tangible things can also be spiritual. As I mentioned, the best example, like this Mercedes-Benz. One American journalist asked Srila Prabhupada, you are talking about detachment. Yeah, you are always talking about detachment, or like that. Simple living and high thinking. Prabhupada mentions. But why, whenever you visit, your disciples come to airport to pick you in a luxurious car? Yeah. Why can't you go in a taxi? Okay. Why do you need to travel in a luxurious car? That is a question asked by American journalist. Prabhupada answered. The disciples, they want to serve their spiritual master at the best, with the best things. Okay. So neither the disciple nor the spiritual master attached to this luxurious car, Mercedes-Benz. If the disciple has a capacity to buy, and if he uses it in the service of his Guru Maharaj, then that is spiritual. At the same time, if any disciple who can't bear this, okay, he may take his spiritual master in auto rickshaw, and the spiritual master happily accepts it. Spiritual master means the bona fide spiritual master, the Guru, bona fide Guru, he never attached to these things. Not only that, even the Lord, isn't it? Some people, like, palanquin procession we do, okay? And we cook, in a temple with the best quality vegetables, right? And temples spend crores of money in festivals all over world. Some people say, like, who say they are, humanitarians, like, who are more on humanity. They say, like, you can use the same money feeding poor. Why do you need, spending this much of money for some, on some stones? In their thinking, stones means the deities. Understand? Okay. But the temples are the devotees, they celebrate festivals on a grandeur level. Isn't it? Understand? So either tangible or intangible. They can be spiritual and material. If someone uses for his own sense gratification, that is material. If someone uses in the service of the Lord and devotees, that is spiritual. You got it now, Harish Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. And in fact, when you were giving these examples, and especially the last point you mentioned, it reminded me of this quote that I read a couple of days back, which says, I want to be so financially stabled so that God uses my pockets to serve others. So, I think in my basic understanding, what I understood was, it is okay to want more wealth as long as it is not just to be greedy for yourself, but to use it to serve the community, the people, and the Lord as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Understand? At the same time, don't hanker for it, isn't it? Krishna is Lakshmi Pati. Actually, he doesn't need our money. Okay. Don't hanker. If it comes on the way, yes, you earn and you use it in the service of the Lord and his devotees. That is devotional service. Okay. Means we are spiritualizing that money. That that Lakshmi means that money, we are spiritualizing. Okay, so this is about the material aspect and spiritual aspect. Even relationship between family members. Okay, so every soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Understand? So your wife, children, okay, uncle, okay, whoever aunties, whoever it is, whether they are devotees or they are non-devotees, we feel they are part and parcel of Krishna. Okay, we maintain a healthy relation with them. Understand? Now, near and dear, they may be devotees or non-devotees. Okay, if we are, if we like them very much, okay, sometimes the separation is really painful. That is there because that is because of that human, bondage. Okay, so this is a core concept. Core concept is like Manjula Mataji mentioned, like, if it is bodily aspect means for our sense gratification, that is materialistic. If it is using the service of the Lord, that is spiritual. Okay. Now let me share my screen. So I prepared a PowerPoint presentation on this affection versus attachment. Okay. So I will share with you. Share the screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, so basically we will today try to understand the attachment versus affection. What exactly the difference between these two? Okay, according to our Acharya's teachings. Okay, so from Srila Prabhupada teachings. So I mentioned this many times in my classes, whether in temple or in any house programs. But this is one question repetitively devotees ask, because we confuse between what exactly these two. So that's why I thought, okay, let me make a standard presentation so that it will be useful to everyone. As I mentioned before, discussing between attachment and affection, let us touch base this detachment versus unattachment, which we already discussed before. Prabhupada, what exactly Prabhupada mentioned? Prabhupada mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 2.56 purport, like attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification. Okay, purely materialistic. Okay, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. Okay, completely detached from it. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. This is an attachment. Understand? Okay, detached. Okay, I am detached. I am detached from my family, friends, job, society. Let me go to forest and do some tapasya. In ancient days, in previous yugas, sages do that one. Understand? Okay, that is one type of yoga. Understand? Okay, but what is the difference between that type of detachment and unattachment? I already gave you the example of Janak Maharaj, okay, who performs his royal duties perfectly, but still glorified as a Rajarshi. And also Janak Maharaj is one of the 12 Mahajans. Not only Janak Maharaj, even Bhishma Dev. Okay, he did not go to forest and did tapasya. He performed his duties. He has given the word to his father that he won't get married and he will protect the Kuru dynasty. Till his last breath, okay, he performed his duty. But again, he is not as a king. He is the Pitamaha, almost like head of the dynasty by that time, isn't it? Okay, he did not detach. He did not left the Kuru dynasty and just went to forest and did tapasya. He is also considered as one of the 12 great devotees. Understand? So these are the best examples. Even Prahalad Maharaj, he became a king. Okay. So, and of course, we know Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is also a great devotee. So all these, the life of these devotees, if we observe, they are unattached. They were surrounded by so much opulence, so much royalty, so much luxury, so many responsibilities, but they are unattached. That is the difference between detachment and unattachment. Okay. So as a devotee, Prabhupada is saying unattached, like we gave the example of lotus flower in a pond. Yeah, there is a dirt surrounding it. And even water is there. But still lotus is aloof with all these things. Okay. And then in Bhagavad Gita 5.5 purport, Prabhupada explained, in the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter. And in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both processes are same. Although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and other process appear to involve attachment. Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are. Okay. So this purport is useful to understand. In attachment, do we detach or not? Anyway, we know attachment is totally different. We don't want attachment to material things. Okay, detachment is there. We detach, which we are not supposed to do. Okay, but in unattached, does it internally contains the detachment or not? The beauty is in unattachment, it internally contains both attachment and detachment. What is that attachment? Attachment to Krishna. What is the detachment? Detachment to matter. Together, both are there. Attachment to Krishna plus detachment to matter is equal to unattachment. Understand? So that is what Prabhupada is explaining here. Okay. Now, if we try to understand the difference between attachment versus affection, remember these three words: intent, content, and consequence. We'll try to understand what these are. If we understand these three things, then it is easy to understand the difference between attachment versus affection. Okay, three things. Okay, don't forget: intent, content, and consequence. What exactly intent means? See, we like a person. It may be husband, wife, friend, whoever it is. Okay, they like some things, few things. For their pleasure, we do certain things. These certain things are just to please them. Just to please them. Understand? So our intention here is to please our beloved ones. No matter whether it is good or bad. So we don't think of the welfare of that person. We don't think that does it help him or not help. We just want to see in their face, the happiness. Understand? So remember this word, pleasure. Only we act for their. And if we concern about their welfare, sometimes out of this concern, we refuse to do certain things. It may hurt them. It may hurt them. But we refuse to do certain things. So here the pleasure versus welfare. Pleasure, it gives some immediate happiness. Okay, the bondage will develop. They love you more. Since you love them and the reciprocation is in the same way, the bondage will develop. So tight bondage. Okay, but this is the foundation for this is just a pleasure without thinking whether it is good or bad. This is called attachment. Okay, so this is called attachment. And what is affection? Affection, we refuse things for their welfare if it is not good. That is called affection. So the best example is given is the mother is affectionate to child. Okay, so mother will refuse certain things to give the child, no matter the children will cry. She will refuse for their welfare. Understand? Okay, so remember this one. So intent, the intention. If the intention is to please others, irrespective of whether it is good or bad, then that is attachment. And to work for others for their welfare and reject whatever they want if it harms, that is affectionate. Okay, we go to the doctor, doctor says like, you have so-and-so disease, you have to go through the surgery. We don't like that surgery, but we have to go through it because for the welfare of our health. Understand? Okay, this is intent. Now let us try to understand the next one. The next one is content. What it is? If we are attached to someone, then there is a huge amount of emotional dependency on others. Yeah. Sometimes people blackmail you emotionally, emotional blackmail, like that. Okay. So this emotional dependency, in this emotional dependency, someone dictates others. This type of emotion is not at all good for spiritual life. But in this is attachment. Okay. In the attachment only this happens, this emotional dependence. But if you are affectionate, instead of this emotional dependency, both sides are individuals. They have their own individuality and they have to follow the authority. Either one of them is authentic so that others should follow, or both together to follow the higher authority. So in emotional dependency, there is no authority. The kite is flying in the sky. Emotional dependency means there is no string. And there is no controller controlling the kite using this string. Now you can understand the journey of the kite in the wind. But in affection, there is a controller. He takes care of it. Two individuals here. The kite is one individual. The person who has the string and controlling the kite is an individual. Understand? Either one of them is authority. Here the person is authentic, superior, taking care of the kite. Okay. In case if both are not, if both are on same level, they have to follow one bona fide authority. That is there in spiritual life. Understand? We have our acharyas, our Guru Maharaj, our senior devotees, like this. Understand? So that's why That is the difference between attachment and affection again. The best example here is given is Karna. The bondage between Karna and Duryodhana is developed based on the emotional dependency. And here, Duryodhana dictates Karna. And Karna follows whatever Duryodhana says. Because he gave him the Ardharajya, he gave him the Ardha Simhasana, where the whole world is referring Karna as Sutaputra, and Dronacharya also, he is not fit for a king. Then Duryodhana gave him all these things. So Karna is emotionally dependent. And now Duryodhana is dictating. So Karna is bound to this emotional dependency. And they both are rejecting the bona fide authority Bhishma Dev here. Like, the kite in the sky, okay, and without string. The kite doesn't want someone to control him through this string. So that's why the best example is given Karna from our scriptures. Understand? That is not good. That is attachment. And in affection, there is no emotional dependency. As I mentioned, both are individuals. Either one of them are authority, or both have to follow one authority. We have Pandavas. All Pandavas, 5, and even including Draupadi, they have differences of opinions. They have their opinion all the times. Okay. But they always follow Yudhishthira Maharaj because he is the authority. That affection is there. Bhima negates Yudhishthira Maharaj many times, but he follows. Bhima has his own individuality, but bound to the authority as Yudhishthira Maharaj. Understand? Okay. So this is the content. Not only that, Prahalad Maharaj is not at all emotionally attached to his father. Oh my God, why should I, go against to my father? He is always, feeling sad about my actions. Okay, let me follow whatever he says. Okay, that emotion is not there in Prahalad Maharaj. He is very affectionate to his father, but he is not attached to his father. Okay. So in affection, there is no emotional dependency. I am the person with my own individuality, and you are the person with your own individuality. But one person may be authoritative to others, and if the other can take, you follow it. But if both are peers on peer level, they have to follow one authority. This is the content. Now the third one is consequences. So if we understand this intent and the content, okay, the consequences of attachment is always distress, always misery. That relationship ends with misery. Because in the previous slide, we said, we try to please the other party, irrespective of whether it is good or bad. But affection, initially it may give some discomfort, or may feel like a poison, not at all happy. But that welfare works on long term. Pleasure works on short term. Okay. On longer run, it's bliss. Again, The best example is Pandavas, we can take. Yeah. So they suffered a lot, but that suffering is a blissful suffering because they followed the authority. So affection, relation between both will lead to bliss. That's the spiritual bliss. Understand? So that's why transform attachment to affection. Transform your attachment to affection. That is the difference. If something is not good, no matter other side, other party may feel bad about you, hurt, but be strong. Yeah. Be affectionate. Okay. So if we see just in a single diagram, whatever we discussed so far, the attachment and affection. Attachment, we just act for the pleasure of others. There is emotional dependency. It causes distress. Affection, we act for the welfare of others. There is individuality and authenticity, and both. And it leads to eternal happiness. And you can see there's an interjunction between these two circles. Okay. Sometimes the welfare and pleasure works together. That situation also comes. Okay, we can see the immediate pleasure within that welfare. Happy. Understand? If the situation comes like that, happy, because we want to see the pleasure in others, and we are acting in their welfare, and we can see the pleasure immediately. That is happy, no issues. That's why I'm saying, so we are not detaching from that pleasure, isn't it? We are detaching from the pleasure which causes misery only. We are not detaching from the pleasure which gives us eternal happiness. Understand? So if this intersection situation happens, well and good. Okay. So even not also, life is not in our hands, but always this side, welfare, individuality, authenticity, eternal happiness. This is very, very important. Unfortunately, in this age of Kali, people are individual, but they don't want to follow the authority. That is the problem. Okay. So they are using their individuality to depend on others. Okay. So the very beautiful statement here is pleasure should not be at the expense of welfare. You remember that one. Pleasure should not be at the expense of welfare. This is applicable whether it is tangible assets, intangible assets, or relation between family members, friends, okay, relatives, whatever it is. Okay, so this is how we need to understand the difference between attachment and affection. Weak-minded people, they don't want to, they don't want to go against the waves of the ocean, because they want to go in the flow of waves, because they don't want to take that risk. They feel like, yeah, let us go with the flow. Yeah, weak-minded people. But intelligent people, strong-minded people, yeah, it's okay. It may be difficult to swim against the waves, but let us try, because on a longer run, by considering the welfare, This is the recommended method. And one more point here also, again, we can see that piety, which we just discussed before. Okay. Piety, what happens? Piety gives you, if you just only attach to piety, that piety actions, it will give the temporary pleasure. It will not give the welfare, remember. Yeah. If we enjoy the results of piety, we get that pleasure. But we don't get that welfare. What is the welfare? Welfare is a long-term goal, isn't it? We get it. Welfare is to come out of the circle of birth, death, old age, and disease, or to quit this material world permanently and go back to the spiritual world. So much sadhana is required. The pleasure, okay, let me do so-and-so yajna, yaga, and let me elevate to higher planetary systems. Okay, the soul will go to higher planetary systems. And it enjoys the comforts there. The pleasure is there. But once the credits are finished, again, it has to take another birth. Isn't it? So it doesn't give the eternal happiness. So in this attachment and affection also, the piety, if someone is enjoying the piety results, means it is attachment. If someone is offering these piety results to Krishna, means he is affectionate. Affectionate on whom? Affectionate on Lord, and affectionate on himself also, isn't it? Understand? So this is the difference between attachment and affectionate. That's why one should be affectionate to this world, or family, relatives, friends, things, whatever it is. But one should not be attached, because that leads to distress. Any questions from anyone? Have you understood? The difference between these two things? Yes, Harish Prabhu, you raised your hand.
Prabhuji, firstly, thank you so much for taking the extra efforts to, make a complete presentation out of just like a single question that I asked, and I really am very grateful for that. Thank you so much. And just to address the last part of my question, which I think, if I remember right, I asked about, it is really hard when somebody who you really love actually just moves away. And just to draw an example out of my own experience and my own life, let's say you actually were very affectionate to somebody, and then they were affectionate towards you as well, and there was mutual growth in each of our lives. But down the line, once their objective was fulfilled, out of nowhere they just change their behavior and just walk away. Although we, or rather, like, as a Krishna conscious devotee, we only wanted the good for them. They only wanted to do good things for us until their objectives were met, and then they just leave. So how do we deal with that sort of a very a sad moment, when you wanted to trust someone, but then they just walk away?
Yeah, very good question. Very recently in my friends group also, one of my friend asked a similar question. Yeah, we had a very nice discussion in my friends group also on the same point. So that's why, again, on spiritual aspect, it is very important to understand, if we build up the expectation, the more expectations we have, the more misery. Understand? So we have to tune our mind. This is material world. This is material world. Anything may happen to the relation at any point of time. Isn't it? Why? Because this is material world. That's it. No one is pure. Even devotees who are doing their sadhanas also, these type of things will happen. Understand? So the best way is, do not expect and tune your mind. Do not expect and tune your mind. I'll give you one just similar example. Like recently we went to India. Okay, we need to attend some function. Okay, so we guessed some sort of like, people from that function will, okay, like some sort of insult us or ignore us, something like that. We guessed it. So before going itself, I told Sita, okay, two options are there. One, skip totally the function, or you attend the function. Okay, attend the function, and if some insult happens, don't feel. Don't get influenced. Understand? So we tuned our mind. Tuned for what? Some insults will come in our life. You face it. But don't feel sad or bad or upset. Okay? Get away from those emotions. Understand? So we minimized the expectation from the other party. If those insults are not coming, well and good, no issues. But if those things comes, we have to face there in the function. Face it, because we already tuned our mind. Understand? So in the same way, yes. So two souls together had a journey. Okay. And when one soul achieved some whatever is the target, okay, they departed. They left the relation and went away. Okay. So yes, it becomes pain immediately. But again, immediately we need to think of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, what Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Dukkhalayam asasatam. These type of things will happen. Okay. We have to bear. So tune the mind. Prevention is better than cure. Actually, we need to teach to our kids also. I used to tell my daughter also. My Soumya is also very soft. She is very soft. I used to tell Soumya, like, you will get glorifications and you may get chastisement and blasphemies also. Okay. People may glorify you or people may, insult you. I used to tell her, glorifications don't take to your heart and feel so happy. Insults, again, don't take to your heart and feel so sad, bad, upset. Okay, I used to tell her, you always tune your mind. You always tune your mind. You always tune your mind. Like that. So this is the prevention method. So the prevention method is always try to understand. And one more thing, the more you are closer to someone, I shared this one, my experience. One devotee is very close to me in the temple. One day we have I think Balram Jayanti or some festival in the temple. We are very busy. Some Abhishekam arrangements are going on, very busy. So that devotee came. She stood at that door and she greeted me from distance. I saw her, but again I was deviated because very busy with those arrangements. And again going, outside and inside, and then again she said Hare Krishna Prabhu. And then I looked at her. I said Hare Krishna, but in that noise, Kirtan is going on, shouldn't hear. So like that it happened. She felt very upset. Next week, she called me and said, did I make any offense, Prabhuji? You did not speak to me properly when I greeted you on Balram Jayanti day. Then I recollected all these things in my mind. Then I told Mataji, no, Mataji, it's not like that. I am just busy with those things. But I remember you greeted me, but I didn't reciprocate in the same way. Because, each time when there is eyesight with you, I am deviated with something else, that much of busy, like that, I told Mataji. Because, sometimes, when people are very close, there is nothing, but still they feel like, we are ignored. This is one aspect. And when you are really ignored, then that pain is more, definitely. Understand? So prevention is better than cure. That's it. Always remember Bhagavad Gita. These things will happen. Okay. We have to tolerate. The more we tune our mind, we minimize these expectations of same love from others. We love them very much. But sometimes we feel like, but they are not treating us on the same level. Like that. Okay. So minimize these expectations. If the relation is going smoothly, continuously, happy. But if someone else, if the other party departs from us, goes away from us, then our pain will be minimized when we minimize our expectations. At the same time, don't build up hatredness. This is very, very important. As I mentioned, ours is inclusive philosophy. We treat everyone as a part and parcel of Krishna. So when we minimize the expectation, this hatredness, developing hatredness, that will also be minimized. Isn't it? Means we are including them in our life still. And it's their problem. It's their problem. That's it. So they went away means it's their problem. But because of that closeness, definitely we feel pain. It's a heartbreaking incident, definitely. So that's why minimize it. Don't be emotional on that relation. Be affectionate, as I mentioned again. When we are affectionate, there is no hatredness. Okay, so affectionate people, they don't act on emotion. Understand? So minimize the expectation. Yeah, and be affectionate and tune the mind. Tune the mind. Always tune the mind. Does it answer your question, Harish Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely. I could actually relate to it 100%. And if I had followed your principles that you just mentioned right now, I think life would have been way more easier. But yes, Prabhuji. And just like one final request, Prabhuji, like at the end of this presentation today or speech today, like if you could share that presentation or PPT that you made.
Yeah, I will email to everyone, definitely.
Sure,
So please
Prabhuji.
save it, and so that you can explain to others also, which is very, very important. Definitely, I will mail to everyone.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So yeah, because these are very, very important things, in our lives. As I mentioned, so we always affectionate. See, my only point is at the time of death, all these things will come in our mind as a flashback. Understand? Okay, so we should have, we should be like, yeah, Ajata Setru means no enemies in our lives, which is very, very important. No matter someone hates you to the peaks, but still no hatredness towards them. This is very, very important. And showing our gratitude to whoever helps us in any level, any manner, that is very, very important. Because our scriptures are saying if someone doesn't show the gratitude means he is a killer of, it is equal to suicide. It is as equal as committing suicide, like that. Such a big offense. Yeah. So like this, at the end of our life, when this flashback comes, okay, that time we are not supposed to repent for maybe unnecessarily developing hatredness on someone or unnecessary attachment on someone, like all those things. Okay, so minimize the expectation. When we minimize the expectation, that misery also will be minimized. For that, we have to tune our mind. We have to tune our mind. That is very, very important. Sishastan Prabhu mentioned, like, he, with one of his associate, Prabhuji went to for a celebrity program. I think in Bollywood film, so many big, shots came to that program. One of the producer or director, he arranged a big function. Okay, all these Hema Malini, Dharmendra, Amitabh Bachchan, all big people attended. So Sishastan Prabhuji invited. So he went with one of so much respect there, red carpet. Okay, though they are all in a different world, and Prabhuji gave a lecture there. Okay, and while coming back, his associate is saying, "Oh, Prabhuji, so much respect. Really, this is great." Yeah, the whole world glorifies these celebrities, and they are glorifying us. So much respect. Sishastan Prabhu smiled and said, "Don't attach to this respect. Round the corner, some insult may wait for you." And as he mentioned, they get into the train. Okay, so someone dropped them at the train station. They get into the train, and Prabhuji started chanting. The person who sits next to Sishastan Prabhu, he started shouting, "Hey, what is this noise going on? Hey, keep quiet. You are disturbing me." Then Sishastan Prabhu looked at the associate and smiled. See what happened? Yeah, as I told you, round the corner, insult is waiting for us. Understand? So Sishastan Prabhu, he neither on cloud 9 for those glorifications, nor he get upset for these shouts. He smiled at that person who shouts at him, and he kept quiet. So Prabhuji shared, when he in his when he came to Manchester, one of his lectures, yeah, like that. So that expectation, expecting someone to love us on the same level like us, yeah. So these things, just to minimize, so that the pain will also be minimized. Okay. So thank you very much. I hope definitely these 3 questions asked by Swara Mataji and Harish Prabhu are really useful. That's why I dedicated one session for each question, so that we can implement in our lives. Yeah, we can implement the same in our lives. So thank you very much. We will conclude here. If you switch on your videos, we will take your darshan first. Thank you, Madhavi Mataji. Thank you, Ramachandra Prabhu, Swara Mataji. Rahul Prabhu, thank you very much. Bhuneshwari Mataji, thank you. Hare Krishna and okay, very Shankar Prabhu. Okay, Shankar Prabhu is gone. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, let us take the darshan. Let us take the darshan of deities. Dornitai, Dana Subra. Okay, thank you very much. We will conclude here, and again we will meet our next session, and we will continue our discussion. In case if I don't have your email ID, please send me your Rahul. I don't think I have your email ID, right? Or have you sent me before? You're on mute.
I'll send you, Prabhu. Prabhuji.
Yeah, send me email ID, and also Ambada Prabhu, you also please send me your email ID. So I'll share this PowerPoint. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. One check up the Kripa Sindhu. Patit Pampam Vishnu Namo Gaur Bhaktam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna.